Didn't tidy up anything before I got here, so forgive the mess. Whatever. It's the best I can do for camera angle for you guys. So, today's solder day. So you guys can see what's happening. Got some more fuel for the tank, so more jobs to do. I did not realize how cheap these things were. I've been wasting money on butane for years. Let's see if I can get it to thread on right. We have, we'll see. Good God. Woo! We got flame. So, before I forget, I'm going to go ahead and do something from the last video that you guys may or may not have seen. I ran out of butane, so I couldn't heat shrink this last little piece. It's kind of driving me nuts. So. This is a DIN connector I did. But do not do this at home because that's hot, but it kind of bugs me. If you get heat shrink too hot, it bubbles up a little bit. So what I did was just clean that bubbling look, so it looks nice and smooth. All right, this is a direct feed connection for I don't know, I'm doing 3 of them today, so I don't know where this one's going, but this is just, I got 3 more to finish and then I'll be fairly well caught up. Don't forget the other end. Yeah, the other ends are already done. I'm just doing direct feeds. I've got actually the ends for every coax I need to complete done already right now. I just got to do all the direct feed connections on them. So y'all can watch that part. I figured I'd do this since I was already on a kick. Alright. So, just in case anybody doesn't know what a direct feed connection is, it's this right here. Terminal mounted setup for any sort of station. You know what? I bought some daggum scissors today and forgot to take them home. So, whatever. You'll have to bear with me through a little bit of cutting them so heat shrink, but it'll be fine. We'll be all right. At this point, I got to cut the jacket, so y'all have to bear with the noise, but it is what it is. I just came home to this bench, and I thought it's nice whenever nobody else messes with your stuff. But sometimes you hide stuff from yourself on accident. So I am currently searching for something that I thought I already had sitting there. Sitting right beside where I needed it. So this is just a terminal mounted system for a base station, mobile, whatever the heck you want to put it in. It really doesn't matter. Just allows you to connect. Biggest reason you do it in a mobile is to get the headliner up, so you don't have to worry about the connector poking through your headliner. That's the exact reason I put my safety glasses on, because I wanted to be able to cut 360. And at one of those positions, it throws it right back at me. Otherwise, it takes me longer to do it. Alright, maybe I collected a few more tools. If y'all got any questions, feel free to ask me during this process, because this is kind of business as usual for me. So feel free to ask. You'll give me something else to do while I'm working. Otherwise, feel free to watch. And as I say in my other videos, if y'all haven't already seen them, if you watch close enough, you can do it yourself. So. And any of you that say you watch me without safety glasses, use my Dremel at any point in time, don't copy me. Just do it right. I know which way it shoots, and I know which way it throws shavings. There's always a chance you could throw a shaving back in my eye, so always be careful and don't do what I do. Just do it the right way. These are some previously made. These were actually used or built foreground straps, but I never ended up using them. And they work perfect for direct feed connections. So I just had them already done. I've got some more braid sitting right over here, but it's not quite as wide. So that's why I use this one. Not really like it matters, to be honest. If anything, it just saves you guys the time of watching me solder a terminal on these things. You don't have to watch that process. Who knows, you guys might find it interesting. Alright. Yeah, it's coming along. We got a few things left to do. I've only got, like I said, I've only got 3 connections left to do, so if I can grin and bear it and get these 3 things done, then I'll have pretty much all my orders complete at this point. I haven't told anybody else or sold anybody else anything else lately, because I've been trying to get some stuff finished up, and I got another big job that's going to be taking a lot of my time for a while. So I will have time to finish jobs, but I just haven't really taken on any extra work just because I wanted to get these jobs complete. Last couple weeks we've had some stupid weather in Georgia, so any of you guys that know anything about Georgia's weather, it's every day that I had to work, it rained. Every day that I had off, that I didn't have the opportunity to work or had something else to do, it was nice and clear. So kind of made it a little frustrating for me to be able to work, because I've only got a few days to be able to do this stuff, because I have a regular job that keeps me busy full time, and plenty of other stuff. But now I got some fun videos for y'all to be able to watch and keep up with. So, direct feed's good, but the whole point of direct feed is just simply so you don't have to worry about a connector up top. If you size your connectors right, no, there's not really any benefit in direct feeding other than not having to buy a female connector at your antenna. The benefits include not having to wire a second connector on a gamma match or on a hairpin match or anything like that. Connectors can be put on that stuff, but builders generally don't. So the consumer usually has to either foot the bill for a connector and the expertise for somebody to be able to install it correctly, or they just direct feed the connection. In a mobile, the reason it's done is when you do like a puck mount on your roof or something like that, whenever you go to put the headliner back in, you don't want to have a direct feed a connector sitting out of the base of the puck at a straight angle going straight through your headliner, because that's what it would have to do. They do make some right angle connectors that allow for stuff like that, but most headliners don't have that kind of clearance to even put a right angle connector on. So that's why terminals are used. Just kind of explaining that for the guys that don't know. Feel free to ask any other questions. I'm just trying to come up with something that's got enough weight and that will not get hot for me to push this connector on with. Y'all see some jerry rig stuff here? I mean, it's not really the fact that I have to have a specific tool for these jobs. I mean, I could have a little bench vise, but then I would have to move that bench vise 10 times a day because I have multiple other things I do with this bench. So needless to say, I'm just creating weight and allowing me to push this connector in there. That's really all I'm doing. It's not something super major. I don't have to have the best design for it, seeing as direct feed I do. I guess I've been getting a lot more requests for it, and it may be with guys in the future I might not be able to keep the same type of prices that I do, because just timing myself on a direct feed connection, even though it's not terribly difficult for me, just timing myself on that connector, it takes me a bit longer to do. Just exactly what just happened right there. It's non-standard. If something slips, I built my circle, or I built my input, and it just slid out and popped out the side. So I'll have to line this back up, heat it back up, and hopefully it'll go where I need it to go. From this point, what I'm doing is just focusing on getting the wire smaller so it's not sitting so far outside this connection. So you'll see me add solder and squeeze, add solder and push on one side, stuff like that. It's kind of the concept of what I'm doing, because I want to make sure I get at least a good portion of this bonded. I'm gonna knock out y'all's vision for a second because I need the edge of this countertop. So sorry. You guys can watch in just a second. I'm just I got this at an angle I need to get it into. There you go. Thank you. I know what I need to do. Sometimes when you get working on something, don't get too engulfed in it, because the very thing you're doing is what's holding you up. Right now, what I'm currently doing is heating this connection up too much, and it's allowing this wire connection to flop around. So I'm not able to get it to bond as well as I want it to. Who sells fiberglass board for the driven element for beams? You have to buy your own. There's a few companies that sell them. Depending on which thickness you want to go with, you really have to design your own board. That's what it comes down to. It's a particular type of high voltage fiberglass. It's not conductive. It's used in the HV electrical community all the time. It's like G8OB or something, whatever the heck it is. Fiberglass. I guess your best place to buy it's probably McMaster Carr. Alright, so that one's pretty well complete. I've got to do the shield now. Now I can move my contraction out of the way, as the shield doesn't require that. I'll fix this while I'm here, just so you don't have to see it. It's kind of getting on my nerves too. Now when that cools back down, I'm going to do more to that connection here in just a minute. But y'all don't have to watch it. Not much to this. I mean, y'all can just chill and hang out. Oh, nothing. You're cool, Marshall. I just didn't. I wasn't able to see your message until just a second ago. But hello, Mr. Turtle. I can't quite see everybody's comments all the time. I mean, lately it's been good, but on one of my videos, I was completely lost because it wasn't showing half the comments. So I apologize if I don't see something you guys ask. That's not that I'm trying to ignore you. It's just that they don't always show up. Gotta get me a little fan going. It is humid in Georgia. What I'm doing is pre-tinning this connection right here. Once I allow it to bond, I'll pre-tin this shield, and you can watch that. This takes some time, so it's not really like a quick process, but anybody who's trying to learn or trying to do anything like this, you're going to want to take your time. You're going to take longer than me. So, just so you know. Don't be starting a project like this and saying, okay, I've got in 30 minutes I got to go be somewhere. No, don't do that. Just dedicate some time and practice and do it, because no matter what, no matter how experienced you are, no matter how many times you've done it, whether you've never done it before or anything like that, things always go wrong. You always have to start over, revamp, change something up. Like that center conductor, I could have finished it 2 minutes earlier if it didn't do what it did to me, but it's not a quick process doing this stuff. It's just a matter of doing it right. The reason I have to do this, in case anybody asks, the reason I have to do this outside is because I work on very large wires, and most places do not have the kind of room that I need to work on the connections that I did. I did a video earlier of an EIA flange in a building, but that's because that individual already had a perfect location for it to run through that was already built for it, specifically. So having a coax run in the side of a window or in a front door or something, it's not really practical. You got to have a hole already in the side of the building to work on that stuff. So when I'm doing what I'm doing, cutting it off the spool, it's definitely important for me to have the space to be able to throw it around 10 foot one way or the other if I need to get it in a different position. So the reason I changed the position of my soldering iron is to get a flatter connection to it so I can get more heat on the wire. Anybody who doesn't know that, you just learned a trick. So here's the shield right here. I mean, you can do it whichever way you want. I'm kind of particular. It just depends on which way that I'm bringing the wire in. I'm bringing the wire in from my left side, so I'm wrapping it around the left. I could do it the other way, but the wire's coming in from that side, so it's more natural for me to do it this way. There's no particular rhyme or reason for the reason I'm ouch. That's hot. Even for my standards, that's hot. So nobody else asked anything, so I seen somebody said something further up, but I apologize. If you want to ask anything, you'll have to ask again, because when the comment feed moves up, I can't follow it because my hands are full. So feel free to ask a question a second time if you have anything to say. This is, so you guys know, I mean, some guys probably already know because they see what I build and can kind of understand the size. This is 1/2 inch flex. This is technically just flexible hardline. So it's good for probably, as far as wattage goes, I usually say around 12,000 peak. Not to say anybody should operate at that type of power. That's just what the wire is good for. So you can operate whatever you want, however you want it. The split feed connection is really unlimited on power. It's just limited by the spacing it has to the dielectric, and the spacing it has is the same spacing that the coax is, so it's going to be as high powered as what the coax is. The other end is dependent on the connector that I use. I think this one's got a UHF in on it, so it's only good for around 6,000 peak. That's what I recommend. Other guys would run higher and have run higher, but I don't really recommend it. So just in general, that's just a recommendation. You can kind of go take that how you will. I should probably build something for this. Trying to decide how I want to do this. I change up how I do stuff a lot, so if you've watched the previous video and I soldered something differently, then it's just me. It's not like it's the perfect way each time. I've actually forgot to do something, so I need to go back around here and do it. Right there. The reason I do this is I'm allowing the wire to bond through completely on both sides. I only do it on one fixed point because I don't want the solder going further around. I don't want it wicking back up to here and loosening my first connection. That would kind of be a worst case scenario. It'd be annoying, but it has happened before. I think it even happened in the last video. I don't know for sure though. So y'all ask me something so you ain't just watching me sit here solder. Or y'all can just keep watching. I mean, whatever makes y'all happy. If you look, when the solder bubbles like that, it's not necessarily wicking. What I'm trying to do is add till it wicks in to the other side, and then I'll throw the part that I don't want, the bubble side, off. Go away. Alright. So from this point, I need to get this around here in some way that does not burn me. So the way I've come up with is this right here. So I've got to get creative. We'll see how this new method works. You guys can watch, see what happens. If it fails, we'll do something else. It's not the fact of whether I would get a good bond on the wire or not. It's just the fact of whether I can hold this properly or not. That's what it comes down to. Oh, I got an idea. Y'all are about to see something else. Really, what would be best in a scenario like this is having a vise to hold the end of your wire right there, and then not allowing it to move. But as I said earlier, if we have any new members or new watchers, the reason I don't have a vise on this bench is because I use it for so many different purposes. So that's kind of the reason there. Alright, so alright, this is what I'll have to do. I need to twist the wire and it's on the spool, so will it twist for me? Oh, okay. Well, here's what happens when you take too long to do a connector. The wire cools off enough so you can work with it. So now that the wire's cooled off and I just thought of a new method, you get to watch me do it. All I'm doing is trying to hold tension on this wire while I've got it wrapped, because I want it to bond in a specific location. You can do a single connection bond like I just did earlier, but the problem is it's not as strong, and I'd rather not have mine failing just because of my bad solder job or my lack of effort in trying to get a good bond. So you do not have to go as far as I did, but I'm sure my customers appreciate it, so I do it for them. Ta-da! Okay. Now we're bonded. I just gotta wait for it to cool off. It's already cooled off enough. So from this point, what I'm doing is just prying this back a little bit, making sure it's out of the way. I just sprayed a few wires, so I tidy that up with something better than that. Alright, so from here, split feed's pretty well done. They pretty well match up as far as length goes, the way they set up. And this spacing right here, make sure this never pulls back into that. That's why I do that. Just allows you to not have to worry about it. I'm not one to try to have to redo stuff over and over again. Just made it a little harder on myself to slide my heat shrink over, but thank God it's large enough. So what I'm going to do after this is pretty much what you're going to see in just a few seconds. I'm going to put 2 pieces of heat shrink on this, heat shrink this one and heat shrink this one, and then I'm going to flood it with some sort of sealing compound. What I've been liking and using lately is, believe it or not, a certain variety of hot glue. So it works out. It bonds the connection, it seals it up very well, and it fits in all the nicks and crannies that it needs to go in. So let's go ahead and cut this one. Might as well. Like I said earlier, I bought some scissors for this job and I forgot to bring them, so I'm gonna have to hack away at it with this little stripper, plier, cutter, crimper combo. Believe it or not, this thing's actually pretty neat. I like it. Little helper, he's actually over at Mimi's. I went ahead and looked at this connection and it is pretty dang close to where I want it to be, but I'm gonna go ahead and add this real quick before I get it off my mind. I wanted to add a little bit more solder to this other side earlier. It was completely bonded earlier, but I just like to add a little bit more while I'm at it. Alright, there we go. Got what I needed. So back to heat shrink. Nobody else asked any questions, so back to work. This is a direct feed connection. Wanted to clean a little resin out of there. Alright. Gotta do one more. It'd be a little bit quicker with a heat shrink if I had a different tool, but y'all can kind of chill. Oh, nice. I got a tool that's just slightly better for the job. Preferably I'd like to have some scissors. I bought some today, but unfortunately I left them. When you get the heat shrink this wide, you can't really get it with no small cutters. This is split feed right here, ×1. It's pretty much done from this point. I just have to seal it. See why I was complaining about being out of butane last time if you watched that video, because it's needed. I should have cut this on already. I'll have to wait a minute or two for that to heat up. Alright, while I'm waiting on my sealant to heat up, I'm really just going to go ahead and start on another one. This is not much of anything other than split feed tonight, so if y'all get bored, you know, feel free to say peace. If y'all are still interested, feel free to hang out. I'll watch another one. Just going to go ahead and prep another one while I'm waiting on that to heat up, and y'all can watch the last seal after I'm done. Like I said, these are just ground straps I've prepped in the past that I never used. This is just braid. Get any type of braid and build it. What I do with any of these is just go ahead and open it up with a soldering iron. Keep your finger away from this because it gets hot, but I'm kind of used to it. Y'all feel free to ask me anything if y'all got any questions, because otherwise all y'all gonna do is just sit here and watch me solder. What I'm doing here is trying to open this up so it doesn't go back flat on me. It's the last thing I want, because I'm using this for my center connection for my next one. Should have enough heat over there. I'll see it dripping whenever it's ready. It's not quite done yet, so I'll wait on it a little bit longer. But this is the beginnings of a split feed for another one. And whenever I want to make sure it's right, just use the center of the iron. It does get hot with this, so it would probably be beneficial if you're going to be doing this with any level of noviceness, I would say, or beginnerism. Just if you're not really adept at soldering, then go ahead and get a vise or some sort of clamp to hold this on, because it will get far too hot for you to hold, or for the average person to hold. Right now it's probably hotter than it needs to be for me. I mean, I can hold it for a bit, but now I'd be saying ouch after a short period of time. Now, like I said, don't copy me, get a vise. No, if you use a torch on any sort of wire, I've actually attempted in the past because I thought it would be a smart decision, but pretty much when you get too much heat on anything, it'll, instead of actually being, it'll change the properties of it, especially if it's got the material that you've got adds soot or something to the wire. If it does that, it makes it almost impossible to solder on afterwards. So a torch would be a very bad idea under most scenarios. If you have something you can control the heat on down below a certain threshold, and you know how to kind of work a torch far enough away. Yes, I've done it before. Would I do it, or would I recommend it to a customer? Absolutely not. It's just too many ways it can ruin your connection. So, not something I would suggest. It's definitely a thought, though, for sure. Everybody, I'm sure anybody who's worked on this stuff has thought about it one time or another, because it's a lot of work. All right, here is the rest of the split feed of the first one. You'll see me kind of jump around a little bit just because I was waiting on this to heat up. There's absolutely no need for me to go all the way around the way I just did, but I did that just because I wanted to. The reason being is because the particular heat shrink that I use has glue in it, and whenever I heat shrink, I'm gonna have spider webs everywhere. Whenever I heat shrink this, it actually seals the connection for me, because as the heat shrink warms up, the glue inside gets liquidy and sets against whatever it's against. You'll see my I do have a connection that's kind of bugging me, so I'm gonna force that to do that. Alright, again, hot. Don't be doing it yourself at home. If you get burnt and complain about it, then it is not my fault. Like that right there will light me up if I'm not careful. You'd think I don't have your average glue gun, so it's not your little hobby gun from the craft section. It is definitely a hobby-ish gun, just because any glue, hot glue, is not really considered high tensile or anything like that. I just use it for a shield, or excuse me, for a seal. So, okay, I threw myself off for a second. It's like I shouldn't have closed that. All right, so now it is time for. Suppose I'll go ahead and seal this one, just because I'm here. I do want to get that off my shoulder, if I can help it. All right, so. This is a UHF connection, or a PL259 for a for 1/2 inch. This is 1/2 inch flex I'm using here. So it again is not really for a novice to put together, so I don't really recommend these connectors to people, just simply because they're not user friendly for that kind of application. If you got some 1/2 inch, feel free for it, but otherwise you'll have to retrofit. I don't want any bubbles in there. I want the glue to bond all the way around, because of course I want to try to seal this connection. Alright, so that one is complete. So time to, well, that one's complete. This end is partially done. I need to get the other end over here. Aha! Alright, here's another split feed. I'll get to watch it again, so you'll want to see me do another one. Here's another one. technically, I guess this camera is my, what would you call it? My motivation for continuing to work without having that on. I can stop whenever I want and go inside and enjoy a nice comfortable couch. But I am this close to being done, so I'm kind of motivated, and I figured I'd share something cool with you guys, or at least cool to you. It's kind of business as usual for me. I still like it. I think it's fun. I enjoy it. It's not like something that's a job for me. But to somebody who's never seen this, it's definitely very interesting in comparison to me, who sees it a lot. Alright, I already prepped the ends for this one, so it'll go a little bit faster than what you saw. And of course that's still hot, so for those that can't handle heat on their hands, do not do this, because I really don't want to hear how you burnt yourself because you copied me to the T. Let's say the actions that I do on this you can use as a guideline. Do not use them as gold, because you can always build in a safer fashion than me, in a more controlled environment, in a more well ventilated area or anything like that. So you can kind of get particular on anything you're doing. So what's up, DBI? Just doing some 1/2-inch flex here for he frequents your page. He frequents a few other pages too, but doing some 1/2-inch flex for him. Finished up some for a guy in Hawaii. The EIA I did earlier, I'm done with all my 1 5/8 stuff for at least a little while. But what am I doing? I'm sure you've done this before, so I'm just sharing it so I can keep myself out here. It's already been a long day and a long weekend, but I was here, I had the butane, I got the solder, and I got the time, so I'm doing it. See my ragtag bench if you ain't already seen it. Alright, skip shooter, make sure you let me know and know that you're coming. Like, I don't know if you got my number or not, but it's on this page. Go to this page and click the call button and make sure to call me, even though I probably already have your number, and let me know for sure, so I'll remember to throw that in whatever vehicle I'm going to be driving that day. I got a few vehicles and sometimes I'll swap up, so just make sure that I bring it with me. For those of you that are adept at soldering, that want to figure out why the heck I got such a big old bead of solder on here, it's just to help facilitate heat transfer. I'm going to bump it off once it gets to the bottom. Alright, that is part of that right there. You guys not know what this is. This is a direct feed connection. It's used mainly on puck mount installs in mobiles, for hairpin matches on beams, for direct feed connections on beams, and for gamma matches on beams. On occasion you'll find somebody who wants to direct feed their ground plane, but it's not generally done. You don't see it too often. So oh, y'all see my little ghetto rig. Next, here it comes. All I'm doing is coming up with something heavy to put me up right here. As I said earlier to whoever was watching earlier, the reason I don't set up anything dedicated on this bench is because I use it for so many different purposes. So I have to come up with an idea to make something retrofit rather than have everything I need here at any moment in time. All I'm doing is keeping the wire from moving while I'm fitting it inside the center conductor. It may move, I may have to do it again, but yeah, it's the methods that work best so far. There's multiple other methods for doing direct feed. The reason I do this is because it seems to be the most flexible method. I've terminal mounted a connector on through a terminal over the end, and it just seemed like that hard of an edge just seemed like it would pull the center conductor to the shield if there was ever a good snatch. This just seems like it's got a bit more flex. It's the reason I do it. There may be a better method. I may change my method up because I'm constantly trying to improve, but currently this is the way I'm doing it, and it's worked well for a few people. There y'all go. Just a direct feed. Alright, so it'll be right there. Here. I'm just tagging my point that I'm going to be soldering with an iron right here. So I'll have it at the right spot. So then I'll unwrap it, look at where it's at, and do it on the back side right here. The reason I solder on both sides is to help facilitate heat transfer and also keep the solder from wicking up back into my other connection. I know this is a very technical video as far as me talking, so anybody want to talk about anything else, feel free to ask any regular questions too that don't quite pertain to this that you're curious about, because it gives me something else to talk about. It doesn't have to be about this exact connector. For anybody new that's watching, this is a direct feed connection for 1/2-inch flex. This connection allows me to wire to multiple different things. It's just what the customer wants. I've already done the UHF connector on it. He's got another wire here that he's got a 7/16 connector on, and that's what I'm doing on these. If you want to see anything else, there's always new connectors and coaxes and stuff I'm putting on for people. Alright, so now that I've basically bonded that, I've already run a bead of solder around the outside of this wire right here. Now I need to get the wire in a better position so I can do my final wrap. So that's going to be over here. And what I'm going to do is try to do what I did earlier. See if I can get it around. So you can kind of see where my solder is, and you can see what I'm doing. I'm wicking the heat through from the inside to the from the outside to the inside. If I didn't do that previously, then you would not see this happening, and I would not be able to do this way. I'm gonna drop off any extra, put more solder on it for more heat, not for more solder. For anybody who hasn't gotten that realization, there is more uses for solder than you would expect. That's why you see me throw off the extra. Now the solder's bonded all the way through, and we have a direct feed connection. And they're lined up. I'm pretty close to it, within about 1/4 of an inch. Again, don't have some scissors, so you're gonna have to watch me chop on this thing. I'm gonna let that fall over there for now. Got some heat shrink. Alright. Alright, so this is 1/2" flex. I don't think I've mentioned it in a while. 1/2" flex is good for about 12,000 or so peak. I'm doing a direct feed connection for somebody. Actually, for a few guys. I'm doing 3 of them right now. There we go, I can see that better now. That's another trick. I mean, I'm not sure if many of you guys know about it. There's not many of you in here anyway to see. But that is a trick you can use with any sort of big heat shrink. If you get it hot enough, and of course, are careful while it's hot, you can squeeze it to itself and it will pretty well bond to itself. So I don't have to worry about that connection coming back loose, but it's also much smaller than what it was before. So allows me to get away with some stuff. You learn tricks of the trade as you go. The heat shrink's just going on here to protect it. There's no other reason for a heat shrink. It's literally completed at this point, but nobody wants their connection to fail due to weather. So that's why you seal it. Feel free to ask any questions if y'all have any while y'all here. I'm sure a few guys that's been hanging out for a while have heard me say that a few times, but some of you guys think you kind of get that feeling like it's hard to bother somebody while they're working, but I do this so that y'all can ask questions, so y'all feel free. If y'all don't, then I'm more than happy just sitting here and working, letting y'all chill and see what I'm doing. So. I stopped part of the way through because I saw it was a little bit longer than I wanted it to be, and I don't feel like going through and cutting it with a knife afterwards, so cut off what I don't need, get back to work. Alright, that's got this sealed up for the most part, or that's got the outer part of it sealed up. Now I just gotta seal up the inside of it. So the only thing left to do is to get some heat shrink. The heat shrink I use on this part is glue heat shrink. It's got an inner layer of glue. It'll grab hold of the wire and seal it up nice, so I don't have to worry about it, whether or not it will get any sort of weather in it. I still seal them up anyway, just because, you know, I'm not really a fan of failures. So. Driving me crazy. Don't copy what I'm doing. This is me and my OCD. I wanted it to not bubble. Alright, so what I'm doing at this point is just sealing this last connection. I've got to wait on my other stuff to heat up. So at this point I'm just going to prep another one while that one's heating up. Ooh, that's a long one. And crooked too. Thought I had more. I do got more somewhere. This is copper, so you can kind of do whatever you want with it. For some reason I flattened that one out. Kind of irritating. I got a bigger set right here. Alright. So from this point, just finishing the direct feed. Sup? Oh, I don't know if I said it or not, but I don't know if you're still here or not, but hello, duck hunter. That long. Oh. You see, as I go, I come up with new things. Just found a literally an old rusty pair of needle nose. It's got a longer cutter on it. Oh my god. I literally had, well, not perfect. I was about to say I had exactly what I need, but it still leaves a few strands. So now the rusty needle nose with the cutter on it worked better than those. Maybe when they were new they might have cut better, but I think I've cut some big stuff with them. Milwaukee, those are really nice. It's going to be fun if I take that much out. Around my pinky finger. Alright, we'll do that. Alright, cool. My glue is now warm, so I'll go back to this for a minute. Again, don't copy this. That is extremely hot, just so you know. It's not very hot to me, but it is extremely hot to the normal customer. I'm just keeping it from spilling over. I'm kind of OCD in that kind of way. I want to keep something clean. Cool. Now I'm getting this off my hand just because it's just glue. Alright, so back to the direct feed for the next one. That one's complete. Just so you can see, I'm kind of leaving you guys out of the loop. There's a complete direct feed. A little bit of cooling needs to be done on this connection here. I gotta let it cool off. That's why I was leaving it sitting over there. I've got it actually supported. I'm actually supporting it on my foot. So y'all know what's going on. Next one, last one. You guys can hang out for it. If y'all have already seen one, then it's going to be the same thing. Just 3 direct feeds all in one video, just so y'all can kind of see. Unfortunately, it probably means this video is going to run a little long, but it's good motivation for me to keep working. So. This is a split feed terminal for direct feed. I'm just building the terminal right now, adding solder to it. I think I've seen a couple new guys pop in. Y'all curious about anything, ask. If y'all want to know what type of wire it is, what I'm doing, stuff like that. Otherwise, feel free to chill and what do they call that stuff? ASMR? Watch some solder ASMR. I don't know. Alrighty. Apparently that's something new, it's popular. Evening. You said your handle the other day, Larry, but I apologize for not remembering it properly. Waving a hand. I don't know who else popped in and popped out, but hello, hello. I'm building the center conductor for the feed now, so I have to open it up. You can't just bond solder to it and have it flat. Or at least I don't want to personally, because it's not the way I'm trying to build it. So I gotta keep a a set shape to it. If you're not careful, you can burn the living crap out of yourself doing it the way I'm doing, because if you take too long, then it will get very hot where I'm holding it, and you will not be able to continue holding it. And it will get a lot hotter the faster you, excuse me, it'll get a lot hotter faster than you think. So now that I've built that, it's pretty much got that prepped. So, do I have a third one cut? I got 1, 2, and where are you at? 3. Here comes number 3. This is a DIN connector I already put on this one. Y'all missed the fun with the connectors. I did a DIN connector. This one right here. I did a PL259. I did those the other day. If you want to go back and watch those videos, you can feel free to watch them. I did another PL259 on that one, but I don't have it in frame, so I can't show you. So I guess I could pull it over here. Maybe. There you go, made it to the end. Hey, you can see both, all in one shot. There's the direct feed, and there's the PL259. That's what it's also known as a UHF connector. So that's what a lot of people call it. But PL259 is what most of you guys know it as. Alright, so here's number 3. So if any of you stuck around from the beginning to end, I expect to see some practice ends from you. No, I'm just kidding. No, but if any of you do actually get interested and start doing some dummy ends or prepping some ends or just building an end or something like that, feel free to post it in a post on this page and share it. I don't mind. I actually should get a customer to do that. I might actually have a picture of him. I'll see if he wants a picture of him posted, and I'll show a picture of him building some 1/4" flex. He built some. Alright. Alright, I got to tidy up a little bit because I've got to use my Dremel. Y'all see that part coming up next. Keep seeing a big number of you jumping in and out, hanging out and leaving and coming in, whatever. I apologize if you don't know what's going on. Feel free to ask. I've explained a few times, but I don't want to repeat it too many times, and so I'm not speaking to the same people. You'll see a few steps skipped in a few of these. I just thought of what I did previously. I skipped a step, I think, in one of the ones previously. The reason being is there was no shavings in it, so I didn't have to worry about it. So, if y'all see any inconsistencies, I'm the coax connector guy. Yeah, I can do coax connectors and a lot more. I just share coax connectors because it's what I've been doing lately. I may actually share a few other videos in the future. I don't really know. A lot of this stuff takes a lot more time, so it's not really, it's like a multi-part, take time, redo, work again, redo stuff. So it's not really, I guess, live worthy, so it's kind of hard to build put those in here. Built a super cap the other day. Built, I don't know what else I did. Did some terminals and some batteries for a guy. Just try to take pictures and stuff like that, just because, I mean, I may do a terminal video soon because I got 50 terminals coming in, so I may do that of me building some 4-aught because I got a guy that's ordered some. So I did lie earlier. I said all my orders are complete, but everything but that order is complete. But I do not have supplies for it, so I do not consider it a completable order. So somebody said something about the knife. The knife is, I don't know exactly what you're saying, but it's just my little stripper knife. It looks kind of funny, but it's literally a stripper knife you can get from Home Depot. So. Milwaukee also, actually. You'd think I'm a Milwaukee man, but believe it or not, I like Ryobi better than most any of them. Not simply because I like one tool better than the other, but because, as you see right here, that Dremel tool that I'm using is actually made by Ryobi. I also have a soldering station made by Ryobi, battery powered. The fan that I got going right now is Ryobi, and my drills are Ryobi. So really, I go with that company just because they have the most tools of what I use readily on hand. Not many other companies have a Dremel tool to offer except for Dremel, and most of those I have and own and I'm annoyed with because the batteries are too small. So kind of a long conversation just to respond to one thing, but that's why you'll see what I got. What I'm bonding now is the center part of the split feed. That's what I'm going to work with first. That's the order that I choose to go in. Need a little bit more length on my wire. It's not quite giving it to me. There we go. Thank you. Thank you very much. Alright. Cool thing about 1/4 inch flex or 1/2 inch flex is it's flexible. You can flex it and do whatever you want with it. I work with Helix too, or whatever you call it, hardline, 1/2 inch and 5/8, 7/8, pretty much any size all the way down to 1/4 inch. But I just treat it a little differently than this. This wire is just, I like it. It's nice. I can work with it a lot easier. Finish connectors a lot easier. Probably. All right. That's the center feed right there. I just changed my mind. I wanted to put this wire on this side of me because I need to do this. Nice. All right, cool. That one's complete. So here comes the ground. Yes, I'm tending both connections. These are already soldered. What I'm doing is I've already tinned the shield and already tinned the wires. You've already seen. You might have kind of missed that if you didn't watch earlier. I pre-tinned these. The only way these bond the way they are is if I have solder on both sides of the braid, or else it'll never wick through. So it's pretty impossible to do otherwise. You can kind of make it happen, but you'd have to have a ridiculous amount of heat and you would damage the coax before you would complete the job. So just don't. I guess that's the best way I can explain that one. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is go ahead and prep for the next part. I've got to tidy this up a little bit because it's got a hard edge. And the quickest way to do that is to add solder. As I said earlier, solder is not just used for bonding. A lot of people kind of get it confused sometimes. They don't really realize that you can use solder for heat too. Alright, so now my coax wrapped the way I wanted it to, and I'm going to go ahead and start on bonding the other side. I'll just make a little tag spot just so I know where I'm going and where I'm going to be bonding to, and then I kind of unwrap it and work on that. After I do this, I split and seal. If y'all watch closely or watch the beginning part of this that I just did earlier, you'd see two other connections that I did, and you can kind of copy what I'm doing if you watch. I don't have to do this second step. I just do it for my own kind of satisfaction. I bond the shield in two different spots. So one, it's connected tight, and also it can kind of track the way I want it to go. If you're not careful with any of your split feeds, you can kind of accidentally short out your own connection because of placement of the shield. If you place it wrong, it can bite you in the butt. So just a forewarning to any guys who do this on your own. Feel free to do it on your own, because that's I kind of encourage that, because I mean, I can't do everybody's coaxes. I don't have enough time in the day. So maybe I'll be able to. Yes, there we go. I just needed to be able to get over here to this part of the wire. If you didn't notice, my wire is a bit wide right here, so I'm trying to tighten it up a little bit. Even if it is wider, it's not very critical, because it's just placement's what's critical, not the size of the wire. I could use a 2-inch wide braid if I placed it right. Go away. You can go hang out on the light somewhere. Beetle just landed on me. Reminds me of a Bug's Life. Don't look at the light. Oh, Harry, no. If any of you guys have not seen that movie, you've missed out on something. It's funny. It's a classic. Alright, so I'm going to get this placed back where I want it to complete the job. Actually, I can probably do it the other way. So, move it back around. That would probably, yes, that will be best. So, all I'm doing is just prepping for placement. Nobody else has asked anything, so I figure y'all are good watching. I'm kind of in a bad spot for angle because I went a little low on my connection. I can still see what's going on for the most part. and see how it wicks into it. Any extra solder you see, you'll see in just a little bit what happens to it. You don't really have to worry too much about that part of it. Alright. So basically, by seeing how the wire lays and everything sets up, for the most part, I can confirm that my wire is mostly there. I still got to do a little bit more. I need to add a little bit more to the inside because I didn't add as much as I wanted to earlier. So let me lay this back out, set this on here. Alright. I don't know how many of you guys are hanging out and how many of you guys are taking off, but see y'all later if y'all leaving, and stay tuned for the guys that are still watching. What's up, fat cat? Waving a hand. Alright. There you go. That one took a little bit longer than the other two, but whatever. Kind of gives you an idea what's going on. And what it does is that prevents this wire from ever getting close to the other wire. You don't have to worry about whether or not it will touch it or anything like that by design. So, in case you didn't see the other ones, you'll see another one done on this one. Yeah, you can tell it's been a long day for me. I told y'all I didn't have a knife, or excuse me, didn't have a pair of scissors, but I have the next best thing, a knife, sitting right here, and I didn't use it for the first two wires. So much cleaner of a cut. Alright guys, I'm almost through. This is just a finish of a project. I'll show it. I mentioned something earlier, and you guys who saw it will see again. If you pinch a wire, a piece of heat shrink, when it's extremely hot, it'll bond to itself. Alright, did I cut two? I thought I cut two. I guess I didn't. There we go. Put you over there. Again, keep in mind the stuff is still hot way after I finish working on it. Sorry I keep going off camera, but that's the best angle I can get at that side. Alright, so we're on the home stretch. Let's go ahead and turn this booger back on. Have it prepared and waiting on us. This is a glued, or yeah, it's got glue lined. Oh, let me tidy up. You didn't tell me about my drippage. Let me clean it up. There we go. This is just glue lined, heat shrink. I don't have to worry about whether or not my wires are perfectly sealed or anything like that. I can seal them myself with this. Just that much glue in it. Okay, cool. Alright, so from this point, my wires are separated. They separate like this. So what I do, if I got enough heat, which I may or may not, we'll see. Not yet. You guys will have to wait a minute. But this is kind of the home stretch of what I was doing. I'm doing 3 split feed connections. I've already done all the connectors, already completed all that. I have first job I did 7/16 DIN and a split feed and 2 7-foot jumpers of 1/4 inch flex. Then I did a 1/2 inch with a 1/2 inch connection with a DIN connector and split feed, and then I did another 1/2 inch connector with a UHF connector or PL259 and split feed, and then another 1/2 inch connector with UHF and a split feed. A lot of people are wanting these direct feed connections for their beams and everything else. That's just what they want. I start dripping out. Yes. This is just to ensure that this wire never gets too close. It's not really for sealing purposes for the most part, because this heat shrink itself seals. So I'm not too awful concerned about the wire itself. I would just like to maintain a set distance just because I can. Now I gotta deal with spider web everywhere. Alright. So kill that. And then what I do is all that's still going. Heat shrink the sides down. Don't copy that. That's just so you know, it's extremely hot. If I don't get it off my hands fast enough, it'll get some trouble. No problems, Matt. I'm sorry if I don't get everybody's handle, because I see a lot of the same names with first and last names. So I'll mess up somebody's handle someday, so I'll just call them by their name on Facebook. You want to make your handle well known or anything like that, feel free to post it on here. It livens up the comment section anyway. I think Black Thunder came in here earlier, waving Black Thunder. I think it's 6:58. Alright, at this point I'm just waiting for it to set up, and that is the last connector of the night. So y'all have any questions before I go to my nice comfy couch? Feel free to ask them now while I'm holding this and you're watching glue dry, not paint dry. You got anything you want to know about this or anything like that? If you want to see some connectors or see some wires, see some anything, feel free to ask. We got lots of stuff around here, including alternators, batteries, coax, big coax, monster wire, monster batteries. Any questions about anything, feel free to ask. Waving smokestack, there you go, cool. I'll wait a minute, let y'all catch up with me since I'm a little bit of a difference on time with these live feeds. Alright. Okay. Kill that critter. Get off my bench. Cruelty to gnats. Alright. Cool. So I'll kill this real quick. And this is mostly set up. I'm just going to leave it sitting down there. I've got a completed one down here. You can see one that's set up and see what it is. See, it just keeps this. You still got movement on your split feed. You can go up to, let me measure. If anybody wants to build anything wider than this, you'll have to request it. But you can go up to about 5 inches wide without having to worry about anything. If you need to go wider, then what you'll have to do is heat up my glue and then stretch it out even more. All it takes is a good heat gun to heat up my glue. But that's just the way I got it set. It's good spacing for most people, and it doesn't add much more impedance to the wire. Laving number 4. This one right here, again, is kind of heating up, cooling off or whatever. It actually goes about 5.5, but for the most part I'll just push it back in and let it set up like this. So generally most of my split feeds set up for between 3 and 4 inch spacing. This other one over here, it's pretty much set up right here. I actually did let it dry a little bit wider, so what I'm going to do is end up adding a little bit of glue in the middle right there just to keep it separated like that. There's nothing wrong with it, don't really matter one way or the other, but I don't want a customer thinking, hey, that's good spacing, let me just install it like that, because then they've at that point weakened the connection and made it where it won't hold up, or excuse me, let's just say broken down their dielectric spacing to the point where you can have an arc over. You'll have corona discharge just between the two wires, a fault between shield to center. This right here is kind of a better example of one that's set up because you can tighten it up in, but it just can't really connect to each other. Apparently I wasn't paying much attention with that one earlier, and it's going to make me have to redo part of it. So while you are here and while I still have a little bit of heat, I'm going to do this again. So all I do is just kind of get something in here if I'm trying to redo anything. Just get something in here to hold it down and just add some more right on in. And as I add that heat, it heats up that other glue that's there. And we'll bond fairly decent with it. And y'all get to watch the daggum spider web. Alright, let's drop the spider web over there. All I have to do is just kind of let that set up. I can kind of keep it separate by something, but just one thing or another, just keep tension on it or anything I want to do. But pretty much just doing the same thing as the other one. So now that this one's setting up, you can look at the other one and how it's set up. Well, doesn't have to look perfectly straight and nice and pretty in there. Just keeping it from connecting. So split feeds are done. Y'all even watch me fix a mistake of my own. It's not really wouldn't be a major issue, but it could turn into an issue if a customer doesn't know what they're doing. So not all my customers are completely adept at everything, so they like to have something built and want it complete and don't want to have to worry about whether or not they make a mistake or not. So I try to build everything as foolproof as possible, including super caps. Whenever I build a super cap, what I do is I put 2 quick disconnects on it so you can't plug them in backwards. And I'm probably going to up my price a little bit on them just so I can include inline fuses, so in case someone ever makes a failure or lets the voltage drop too low whenever the current discharge builds up too much, because there's a potential difference in farads, that will add up to too much current if you let it go below 10 volts, especially when you get into the larger farads. People don't realize that when you get up in the 1000 farad mark or 1200 farad mark, like some of the bigger ones that I build, you'll end up having way too much current discharge just recharging the super cap from a low voltage standpoint. So that's from 12 volts or 11 volts or 10 volts back up to 14 volts. So at that point it can definitely pop a few fuses. So I'll catch you guys later. That's just pretty much was the end of it. A little bit of random information at the end, but we got it complete and time to move on to the next job. I will share maybe a build of some wiring next, like 4-aught wire or something possibly, but I'm done for the evening. I'll catch you guys later.